Hey, what's up guys? Welcome back to another video. It's been a little bit. It's been busy with work and life and whatnot. But I've also been a little lazy. Especially, these videos kind of I kind of just post them whenever I kind of like feel like it. Just to not burn myself out. So I've been, keeping on that schedule. Just so I don't burn myself out for you guys. But let's talk about what we're gonna look at today. We're gonna look at the Nosco NS1. That's the mold. The mold is the NS1, and it's a 32 millimeter that I have here, and it's an embossed. So it does like paint on this or something like that. Well, it is paint with a wavy maple ply on the bottom, this is sick. This is like top 3 fingerboard graphics I've ever gotten. This is just like insane. The lacquering on this thing is super nice. Even if you guys watch my NS3 review, you guys will know I said that his lacquering was really good. His craftsmanship on these decks is crazy. Like genuinely probably the best craftsmanship I've seen so far in terms of like quality per board. So it's up there. It's for sure up there in terms of that. And if you can see the plies right there, it's like natural black. Bottom one's obviously like a turquoise, bluish sort of thing going on. The top ply is the natural ply with the stamp on it. I set up this board maybe a couple of days ago. I didn't want to do like an unboxing just because like I wanted to try it out right away. I got a little impatient, but yeah, this thing is I don't know. It's a mellow mold for sure. This is his low mold, or this is literally his mellow mold. I tried out his NS2, I believe. No, his NS3. I tried out his NS3. I think that's his medium mold. I have it sitting somewhere around there. That one, I said pretty much the same things on that one. Like the quality of the deck itself is amazing. The only reason I didn't like that one as much is just because it's a medium mold, and I've been more into mellow mold recently. The only reason I didn't like that one as much. But if someone likes medium molds, that's definitely gonna be one of the best medium molds I've tried. But in terms of this mellow mold, it's super realistic with all its properties and the geometry of everything, and the shape of like the nose. It's like I forget what he left it in the comments last time. It's like a squared something like that, or tapered. I forget, something like that. I just love the shape. The shape's sick. And then the mold itself, it has little to no concave. So it's pretty flat in the center, which I personally really like. It makes it feel really realistic. The pockets on this thing, if you can see, they're there. They're like super subtle, but that's exactly what I like. It doesn't feel cramped in the pockets. It feels like you have a lot of room to do whatever you want. Especially recently when I've been trying to learn how to do nollie laser flips. I don't know why I decided to go down that rabbit hole, because it's a really hard trick, but yeah, I've been trying to learn nollie laser, and like having so much room, or that feeling of having so much room in that pocket, has been so good. So yeah, this mold feels really realistic. Sorry about that. It feels really realistic, and it still has a lot of pop. Like ridiculous amount of pop. Like it's super nice. So in terms of pop and usability, this thing, the performance is all there. And like, dude, I can't get over the quality of this thing. Like, you can't tell me that doesn't look crazy. That looks ridiculous. Seriously, I'm in love with the craftsmanship on this. It's awesome. And I've been sessioning this thing for, like I said, a couple days now, and like I've been doing nose grinds and nose blunts, and you can't really tell. Like, it hasn't worn at all. He lacquers this really well so that it lasts. I have this set up currently with Jindy 32 millimeter Jindies and some Ureth wheels. These are more of a bowl shape from Ureth, which I've been really into bowl shapes, so that's why I requested bowl shapes from him. And dude, like I said, Ureth wheels, I am sponsored by them now, but like no bias at all. Like genuinely some of the best wheels I've ever tried, if not the best. And then as far as the trucks, I just have stock tuning. And I also these wheels, I think I have, these are 8.6 millimeter in diameter, so they're pretty big, and I think 5.5 wide, something like that. So they're big wheels. And in terms of like monster trucking, not anything at all actually. Let me, yeah, not really any monster trucking going on. Like if I put it perfectly like this, there's none. Yeah, so that's the setup. I had some SB trucks on this before, but I found that with the SB trucks, and they sit lower than the Jindies, I found that it was a little bit hard for me to pop certain things, like certain tricks on this, like nollie heels for some reason. I know it's all a preference thing. Like I was still able to do them on here, but I noticed that this deck works a lot better with higher ride heights, since it is already a mellow mode. And I found that combo of having a mellow deck with a higher sitting truck, like for example BRTs or Jindies in this case, it just feels so good to use. It just feels really natural. And when I say natural, I know I say natural a lot in a lot of my videos, but I mean it's just genuinely, it just feels super comfortable on your fingertips. It doesn't feel like you have to skate a certain way or fingerboard a certain way to be able to do whatever you want to do. So that's what I mean by that. Like if a beginner were to pick this up, and I know beginners tend to like to start with higher kicks just because it seems easier, and for the most part it is a bit easier. But this is one of those decks where a beginner can still have a lot of pop to do whatever they're doing, to learn ollies, for example. So that's, you know, a really big pro in my opinion. But the shape of this thing is just, it's amazing. Like I said, super realistic. Makes your tricks look super real. That's one thing I did notice. And again, going back on the pockets, it's just I don't know how to explain it. I know how some decks, like, it'll feel cramped in here, like it feels like your fingers sinking too far in. This is perfect. This is literally perfect. Like, I've been trying to learn all the lasers, and obviously I still suck at them, but you know, there we go, there's one. But you know, it's been really helpful in terms of learning tricks and having enough room to do that. But yeah, like I was saying, I had SB trucks on this. It felt a little bit too low with that setup, for me at least. I just feel like I didn't have enough clearance in terms of like being able to like dip this far down. So that's why I swapped to the Jindies. And the Jindies, like I said, Jindies and SB trucks are my two favorite trucks right now. SB trucks seem to fit better on specific decks. Maybe higher kick decks would be good on those, but I don't really use high kicks. So that's why I like using the Jindies. The Jindies I can kind of use with everything. I did hear some people have issues with Jindies and high kick decks just because it's a lot of like travel time between your tail hitting the ground. Some people like that. I personally don't. So just be aware of that. But yeah, this deck is it's been my main for the last week, and I don't see that changing, to be honest. This might be one of the best molds I've ever used, and my favorite mold right now, actually. This reminds me a lot of my Renovare deck that I had reviewed early on the channel, just because I mentioned how when you do kickflips, some decks, like the Catfish I have here, for example, this has much higher kicks. It's kind of hard to tell on camera, but it has higher kicks, and the nose is right here. I mentioned how when you do a kickflip, like sometimes your front finger will get stuck on the nose, but here on the Nosco, it kind of just like it when I say realistic, I say it for a reason. It literally like slides off instead of like pulling your board down like that. Like it'll slide with your finger, if that makes sense. It won't try to grip your finger at all, which is why I really like this deck. And decks that have that feature is something that I look for and really appreciate. So that's one of the big pros of this. And I've taken this thing outside. I've set this thing outside, and like I said, no real wear from that. And this is a 97 millimeter length deck, which is not something I usually use. I usually use 96, but obviously 1 millimeter, it doesn't feel like too much of a difference, but I can kind of feel it in terms of like, I know 1 millimeter wouldn't make much of a difference in terms of weight, but you can feel that it's not a bad thing. It's not like it's a heavy deck. It is like a good weight of a deck. It's not too light either, so it's not a light deck. But yeah, you can just feel that little bit thicker of a deck, if that makes sense. Which I actually like. It makes my tricks flip slower, and look more realistic again. So yeah, it's 97 millimeters long, and I think the wheelbase is 57 or 57 and a half long as well. But yeah, I think that's pretty much all I have to say about this Nosco. Definitely check out Nosco. Crazy quality, like I said, insane quality. This new NS1 has definitely hit the spot compared to the NS3 that I tried. Just because this is a lot more mellow, and honestly just feels great. There's not really any other words to put it besides it just feels great. So if you're looking for something that's super high quality and gonna perform really realistic and a mellow mode, check out the NS1. I think you'll really like it, especially because I usually find some decks to have a lot of like monster trucking with the wheels poking out from the sides, but this doesn't really have it, which is great. I actually like that. I personally don't care if my wheels stick out a little bit, but I know some people do. But that's gonna be it for this video. I'm gonna put their links down below, so check them out there, and I'll see you guys in the next one. I'm gonna have some new videos. I'm gonna have a cow ply that someone sent out, and I'm gonna have a, what was it, Vein Distributions deck that I'm gonna review as well. So those are coming up in the next videos, but I'll post those. I'll try to post those soon. Just been really busy with life, and yeah. But other than that, you guys take care, and I'll see you guys in the next one. Yeah, bye bye.